doing and talk about how to find your first bookkeeping client, because it's a question we get a lot, and I wanted to talk about how I found my first client, having not worked in practice when I started a bookkeeping practice, and also just share some tips and ideas and how you might be able to do that as well. Before I do that though, it's a really good time just to say that we are starting tonight at 8 p.m. We have an amazing event coming up this week. It's called Big Week, Bookkeepers Inspiring Growth, and we've got something like 13 live sessions. Just waiting to confirm an extra podcast as well, just to throw something extra into the mix, because we can't help ourselves. And it's going to be fantastic. We're going to be talking about AI and growing your business, but we're also talking about the 4-step RISE framework that Joe and I live by. Whether you're a bookkeeper or doing something else, this is what you need to be doing to consistently find clients. It's about resetting your mind, having that strategy, having the mindset, setting the goals, thinking about who your ideal client is, designing a service that is perfect for that ideal client, shows your expertise, your credibility, so you can position it to that ideal client, and then engaging with those ideal clients, selling them those services to the right people, because that's going to help you to achieve those goals. So we're going to do that, but we're also putting AI into the mix, and we've got some really exciting sessions that we've been preparing for, where we're going to be showing you some tips and tricks. It's the kind of thing people are like, whoa, I did not know you could do that. So I really hope I'll see you there. 8 o'clock tonight. You have to register. It's not going in the Facebook community. You need to register to get the link to join us. So if you go to bookkeepersevents.com, it starts tonight. It's kind of your orientation night. Bring a drink, bring something nice. Right, so how to find your first client. Okay, I'm just going to start by saying, when I started my first business, I'd never planned to be a business owner before, and I massively lacked confidence. I describe myself as an introvert. I can go out and do lots of networking, but then I need to go and sit in a quiet, dark room for a while and recover. And the idea of going out networking terrified me. I didn't know what to do. I've been to accountancy conferences and things like that before, and I always hated it. I'd always find the person that I knew and kind of stick to them. So if you feel like that, I really do get it. And I didn't even know where to start. And the very first client I got was actually a friend of my husband's. My husband said, that I was starting this bookkeeping business, and she was like, great, maybe she can have a look at my tax return with me and we can just go through it and see if I've done everything right. And although now I would say that it's probably as much work to review someone's tax return as actually to put it together, because obviously you need to understand your clients. I didn't know that at that point. But if I break that down, that conversation and that reassurance is still a really good way to build the rapport that helps you to get those first clients, because you know something as a bookkeeper that other people don't know. They don't know how to do this stuff. So, you saying I have a power hour, or even just, no, do you know what? Sell it. I can sell you a power hour and we can sit down and we can go through this together. That could create the first client. That could create your first recurring revenue. So I think it really came down to just starting by saying, hi, I'm here. I can do this. Here's how to buy it. Here's how to book in. The first big client I got actually came off the back of that piece of work. So somebody was looking for a bookkeeper. They posted on LinkedIn, and that person recommended me. So what I always think about is weak connections. The person you meet at a networking event, or through a conversation at the school gates, or through a friend of a friend, or that text message you send someone, that person you're speaking to might not be your client, but the person they speak to is the person who's going to be your client. So what you've always got to think about is nurturing those weak connection relationships, because that's going to lead to the work. So that's something that really helped me. And I think just being kind and generous, sharing, and trying to show up on social media and talk about something that maybe not too many people were talking about. And I've got to say, bookkeepers in the world, you do it, like, this is happening so much more now. Like, I'm on Instagram right now and I can see people tuning in, and I know there are lots of bookkeepers here who are doing the social media thing. So we're doing it so much more, and we know that it's part of the marketing strategy. but just keep having conversations with people. So how to get your first client. Do you know, I think that the connections you already have are probably your route to your first client. You might look at them and think, or, think, well, then, they don't own a business. They're not going to need me. But just as I said, they're the weak connection who can make the introduction for you. So what you need to do to be able to help them to introduce you to somebody, your job now is to get really, really clear on what you do the best. So because bookkeeping is a broad area, right? So what is it that you are really spectacular at? And who is the ideal client? Who's the person that you can really support and make a difference for? Because when you do something really, really well, because you're great at it, and when you do it for the person who you are really good at supporting because you understand their industry, or you communicate with them in a way that, where you both sort of have that flow, that brilliant work is going to be the reason that they want to recommend you on to somebody else. So for me, love working with really small businesses. Really love working with people who say, oh, I hate the finances, like I don't understand it. And although if I was to start a business today, I don't think that's where I would start in terms of what my infrastructure would look like. This is a conversation for another day, but in a nutshell, there are two ways you can build a business. You can build a business with few clients where you provide a very high touch, high value service, because that was going to achieve a revenue goal. Big pound sign multiplied by small number of clients is going to hit a goal. The alternative is you get small pound sign multiplied by big number of clients will get you the same revenue goal. And those two styles of business are going to have different infrastructure behind them. So you need to decide which infrastructure you're working towards. Now, I know that I give my best value actually when I'm working with those clients who need the highest level of support, like that really high touch. They need me at FD level because I've worked at that level, and that's within my skill set. I want to do this, like I want to do it because I just want to help everybody. But I think that because those businesses have to be built in two very different ways, you kind of have to choose. And I also think if you can do this really well and you can make sure the money is sorted in your business, you've got the money coming in, then you can start doing this stuff for free or for a very low price. So, you don't have that same stress of thinking, oh, I've got to go out and find 200 clients right now. So choose the clients you want, choose the service you want to sell them, and then make very clear noises about who it is you're looking for and speak to the people already in your network. I really believe that's the way you're going to find your clients. And working with the bookkeepers we work with in the Figure Bookkeepers Club and the Success Program, we find that what finds people the clients is a combination. It's a combination of being here on social media, speaking to friends and family, getting referrals, and going out networking. But what always works and what's always consistent with those people is that they're starting with knowing who their ideal client is and knowing what they're selling to them, and then consistently repeating that message and basically asking for the client. And I think when we go back to the introvert bit of it, the bit where I started at the beginning, I said, oh, I need to go and sit in a dark room after this. Unfortunately, that's the bit where we have to get out of our own way. So find a way that you can kind of make yourself accountable, gamify it, like make it a game. So you want to do it and you want to do it every day. And it's going to be so much easier for you because it just becomes a thing you do. I hope that's helpful. I hope you'll join me tonight at Big Week. We're actually going to go into some of this stuff during the week as well. So we're going to be talking about ideal client and service. And we've got great exercise. So please come along. Remember to register. If you go to bookkeepersevents.com, or sometimes that redirect doesn't work, try bigweek.scoreapp.com. That will definitely work. You'll be on the list. You'll get the link to join us at 8 o'clock tonight, and I will see you there. Have a great day. Bye.